In cases where business interests and workers' rights came into conflict, the court tended to favor business with rare exceptions, even after the Great Depression struck in 1929. When President Franklin D. Roosevelt came to power in 1933, he felt the federal government should act to combat the economic crisis. Emergency measures were passed by Congress, but the court held several unconstitutional, saying too much governmental regulation. The chief executive struck back. Roosevelt asked Congress to give the president the power to enlarge the court so that he could, in this way, achieve a majority. But there was little support for this idea, and Congress defeated it.
This actually provoked a constitutional crisis in our country, a battle between the legislative and executive on the one hand and the court on the other. Roosevelt had no recourse except to fight back with the rhetoric of a president with public opinion, but public opinion couldn't sway that court because the justices were there for life. He lost that fight.
But Roosevelt claimed that he won the war though he lost the battle. And the basis of that claim is that the court did indeed turn more charitable toward the New Deal, even before changes in the personnel took place. The court, between roughly 1890 and 1937, were bad guys in the sense that they were abusing the judicial function by reading too many of their predilections in. What do you do, however, when the issue becomes freedom of association, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, rights of privacy, general liberties that are increasingly far from specific words in the Constitution, but that they're not the economic liberties once worried about, but they are personal liberties that the new generation of judges were particularly sensitive to.
The question of racial equality, as guaranteed under the 14th Amendment, had long been dodged by courts and lawmakers alike. The doctrine in Plessy versus Ferguson in 1896 was that separate but equal facilities fulfilled constitutional requirements. Earl Warren surprised many people by leading a court which reversed previous decisions on equal public facilities and put the court in the center of great controversy. In the mid-50s, in Brown versus Board of Education, the court said that segregated schools were unequal schools, and the segregation barriers began to fall. But even though the court can make such decisions, it has no machinery for enforcing them. That requires action by the other two branches.
I think the racial discrimination ban in the law, which the court had tried to establish in Brown and the Board of Education, did not really become substantially guaranteed until such laws as the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act of 1966 became law. The court can pronounce the interpretation, but it cannot on its own remake a society. It ultimately depends on popular acceptance and cooperation from the political branches, and that through the political process, not just the judicial process, ultimately did come true to a significant extent in the development of the 60s.